Gamers of the internet, I love playing dress up in any game where I have that option. The way my characters look plays a massive role in how much I enjoy playing them in their game. Their outfits, their hairstyle, their color schemes, all of these elements are probably more important than they realistically should be. Zenless Zone Zero might not allow me to dress up my characters like customizable Barbie dolls, but that doesn't mean it isn't loaded with some of the most fashionable pre-made outfits I've ever seen. Today, I'm going to rank the fashion of every playable agent in the game based on how much I like them. Even though I love fashion, I'm incredibly ignorant when it comes to the real-life fashion world. So my list is going to be based on the most scientific of all metrics: vibes. If you like this video, please leave a like, subscribe, or if you're a real fashionista, join my YouTube memberships, and educate me directly on the world of fashion with an informative comment. With that said, let's begin. On first glance, Belle's outfit might appear to be basic, but when you look closer, you realize there's actually a lot of drip packaged into this small space. Instead of a regular jacket, Belle is actually wearing some kind of hooded vest. I didn't even realize this garment was sleeveless until I started making this video. It just looks so natural when paired with her shirt. The rest of Belle's design is peak asymmetry. Her skirt is just slightly askew and contains multiple different layers of fabric. Where the asymmetry really shines, though, is in her accessories. She's wearing socks at different lengths, she has a fingerless glove, specifically on only one hand, and she's carrying a bulky-ass Walkman with her, because she's a massive hipster nerd. And somehow, with all these pieces of clothing and accessories, Belle keeps everything color-coordinated. She's a beautiful picture that just looks better and better the more you stare at it. And for that reason, Belle's outfit goes in the S tier. Naturally, the next character I'm looking at is Belle's brother, Wise. Compared to Belle, Wise gives off some real dweebus energy. You can tell just by looking at his choice of clothing. He's a lot more straight-laced and has more simplistic sensibilities. Or, to put it another way, if Wise was a hot sauce, he'd be honey mustard. Wise's fit is simple and clean. Firstly, his choice of pants are perfect. He's wearing a pair of dark gray slacks, which just so happen to be my favorite kind of pants. Well, right behind black slacks. And maybe pajamas. Just like his sister, Wise wears a simple shirt with a dripped out jacket. It's got buttons, zippers, and even a nice looking white collar. Wise is the embodiment of clean drip, so I gotta put him beside his sister in the S tier. What can I say? I think honey mustard is delicious. Yuzuha is a little stinker, accompanied by an even littler stinker. Kama certainly makes for a wonderful backpack, but he makes for an even better companion to this diabolical teenager. I love his inclusion in this outfit. Apart from him, Yuzuha's fashion is weirdly normal. She's just wearing a pink cardigan over her school uniform, but damn, does it look so good. I think a cosplayer could achieve this look with $50 and a value village, and I encourage them to try. Her boots, ribbons, and stockings round out her look with a bit of disarming cuteness. A great poet once wrote a line that I would now like to invoke in order to describe Yuzuha's whole vibe. Darling, I'm a nightmare, dressed like a daydream. Taylor Swift. It's a very good thing I like Yuzuha's drip enough to put her in the S tier, because if I dissed her, I feel like she'd break my legs with a baseball bat. The next character I'll be ranking is Alice. Her outfit is a rather unexpected combination of styles. Her shirt and skirt look like standard clothing you'd see on any number of well-dressed individuals, but she's also wearing these cyberpunk-looking back braces? I have absolutely no idea what purpose these are supposed to serve. Maybe they help her with combat? In any case, what I do know for certain is that having a little LCD screen on her stomach that constantly broadcasts her mood at all times is very cute. It reminds me of Trigger's blindfold, actually. And I don't really have anything else to say about Alice's drip. She's just a very vanilla kind of person. Despite not having much more to say, I'm still gonna put Alice in the S tier. A lot of times, simple clothes still look really good, and this is one of those times. If there's one character in all of Zenless that embodies the essence of aura itself, it's Lyra. He's got a leather jacket, leather pants, leather boots, and all of it is accented with a gaudy gold trim. Like all the Sons of Calydon, his entire design is also loaded with spikes. These may not be practical accessories, but they're cool as fuck. And they're a visual motif that connects this biker gang together. The aspect of Lyra that I love the most is his red handkerchief scarf thing. It takes an otherwise rugged aesthetic and makes Lyra look way more sophisticated. He could even convince me he has something besides dead air in that head of his. Personally, I could do without the tiger print, but it is a pattern that fits into his color scheme perfectly. Even though I think it's ugly and tacky, I can't deny it is a good choice. Due to his unmatched Chad energy, Lyra's outfit goes in the S tier. Let's not beat around the bush. Bernice is the hottest character in the game.
Flames will never die!
She's taking advantage of my single biggest weakness as a man, exposed midriff. Flanking her open tummy is a short skirt and the world's smallest tube top. The skirt has bright red textured stripes on a solid black base. Stripes that remind me of antique furnaces, a design choice that reinforces her fire theme incredibly well. She's even got stripes on her thigh-high stockings, an article of clothing that happens to be my second biggest weakness as a man. Finally, I would be remiss if I didn't bring up Bernice's bomb-ass leather jacket, the world's most stylish sunglasses, and flamethrowers that I can only assume are powered by Wi-Fi. Obviously, I love Bernice's design, so she easily goes into the S tier. Just like Bernice and Lyra, Lucy has her own bomb-ass leather jacket. But Lucy's jacket has a lot more unnecessary belts, making it cooler by default. Lucy isn't wearing a skirt, but she's wearing something that I honestly think is even more interesting. She has torn jean shorts accompanied by a flannel handkerchief. I think you would call this a pip scarf, but I'm not certain. Let me know in the comments if you know the technical term for this type of accessory. Either way, I think it's a great bit of design, and when combined with her helmet and weapon, it gives Lucy a pretty strong baseball theme. Her outfit is another one that I like the more I see it. I didn't think I would put her here initially, but I have to drop Lucy into the S tier. I'm just gonna say it, Piper's cargo pants are kind of a disaster. I don't really like them, but I guess I can't deny they're striking? They also give an air of professionalism, not seen in the Sons of Calydon until now. Alongside her driving goggles and thick gloves, her outfit reinforces the idea that she's a working woman here to do her job. Driving a comically large car, my favorite part of her design has to be the detached sleeves. Breaking up a top like this to have alternating bands of skin and clothing is just something that really appeals to me. It makes a design more interesting through subtraction instead of addition. I also love the visual of small girl, big axe. So I'm going to be putting Piper in the S tier. Caesar is the big bad leader of the Sons of Calydon, and her design reflects her status perfectly. To me, she looks like a cross between a badass biker chick and a badass Amazonian warrior. Her top connects to her skirt as a single seamless piece of clothing, making it look like a battle tunic, but with a modern flair. But the aspect of Caesar's outfit with the most aura, enough aura to even rival Lyra, is her incredible leather jacket. It's totally pimped out with a fur collar and a neck chain which proudly declares her as the king. And you really can't argue with that. The only thing I dislike about her drip is that she's just wearing one arm inside of her jacket. I just think that looks stupid. Either go both arms in or both arms out. When you go halvesies like this, it makes it look like you got confused while getting dressed in the morning. But even that trip at the finish line can't knock Caesar below S tier.
Weaklings! You're nothing but prey!
I think I might be a furry now. It's pretty obvious that the most striking feature of Pulchr's design is her face mask. I don't think there's any other character in the game who hides their face like this. It's a choice that accentuates her mysterious nature. The mask obviously serves some kind of practical purpose, but it's also an accessory that creates a layer of separation between her and the rest of the world. It also makes her look cool as shit. What I don't like as much is her leather vest. I just think the back looks kind of silly being as open as it is. It's like whoever made it accidentally created two front halves and forgot to make the back. I really should dock Pulchr some points for this questionable taste in fashion, but she is a cat, which is my favorite animal. So her fit is gonna go into the S tier.
I'll bite your throat out!
Well, if I wasn't a furry before, I definitely am one now. I am officially placing Lycon under arrest for being too sexy. He can't get away with wearing one of the most dapper suits I've ever seen in my entire life, while also wearing BDSM bondage gear around his head and tail. There are 3 wolves inside of me. 2 of them are gay, and 1 of them is Lycon. His closet hides more than just kinky accessories. Lycon also wears some fancy fingerless gloves, keeps a solid gold pocket watch chained to his person, and my personal favorite detail, has a bright red ascot tucked under his vest. Without this accessory, Lycon would have a much more muted appearance. But this single detail adds a beautiful pop of color. His entire sense of style is very closely aligned with my own. So if I put him anywhere other than S tier, I'd be dunking on myself, which would be stupid, because I'm literally perfect. Head maid Rena, like all the maids of Victoria Housekeeping, chooses to dress in the style of her profession, with a splash of Lolita aesthetic. Just like Lycon, Rena's clothes are incredibly posh. The ribbons, the headband, the multi-layered dress that kinda looks like an overpriced tablecloth. It all adds to Rena's thoughtful sense of fashion. Her dress is a bit longer and thinner than the other maids, and it's the only dress of the 3 to have sleeves. To me, this makes Rena look exceptionally elegant. As much as I love the dress itself, I think I love its colors even more. Once again, we have a member of Victoria Housekeeping who would have a monochrome design if not for the use of a red accent. These thin ribbons of color make Rena pop like a balloon. I love elegance, and Rena embodies that word to a T. So she gets to join the ranks of S tier. Horan has by far the simplest design of all the staff members from Victoria Housekeeping, but she's got some tricks up her sleeve to stand out from the crowd. Most obviously, her teddy bear backpack. I love this thing so much. It's absolutely adorable, just like Corin. If I owned something like this, I'd wear it with me everywhere I go. And I know it wouldn't clash at all with my suit jacket and button-down shirt. The reason I'm so confident about that is because it works so well for Corin. What doesn't work so well is the pattern on her headband and apron. I really don't like the dotted grid design going on. She looks like the box art to a Sega Master System game. I can't deny it's more interesting than a plain white apron. I just wish she chose a different pattern. This blunder should put Corin in A tier at best, but I don't want her to lose confidence in herself, so I'll place her in the S tier. In a lot of ways, Ellen's outfit is just Corin's outfit, but with more edgelord spikes. If I had unlimited money when I was 14, this is the kind of stuff I would have worn. I think all of these pointy details are supposed to remind you of shark bites, which makes sense because Ellen is half shark. Even her apron kinda looks like a grill of shark teeth. She's really committing to the bit. She also has beautiful splashes of red in her outfit, but I think it works even better for Ellen than it does for Rena, because the red is color coordinated with her immaculately dyed hair. Now that I'm looking at her, I think Ellen is the exact kind of person I would have had the hugest crush on if I knew her when I was 10. Her fancy-ass outfit is a huge contributing factor to that fact. So in honor of my childhood self, Ellen rounds out the maids with an S tier ranking. Billy is yet another character who pulls off the leather jacket look wonderfully. But instead of a dark black jacket, his is hot rod red, presumably so he can run faster. I never realized until now, but this jacket is actually his only piece of bright red clothing. The rest of his drip is actually pretty muted. I can't tell if Billy is wearing epic slacks or ugly black jeans. I'm just going to assume the best, and say they're slacks. Because if they were jeans, I'd have to execute him for wearing the worst piece of clothing ever made by human hands. And here is where I'd talk about Billy's shirt. If he had one, as a full-fledged robot, I can totally understand why he wants to show off his rock-solid robo-pecs. I'd do the same if I had a bod like Billy. Unfortunately, I'm trapped in a prison of flesh. Either way, the Cunning Hares start out with an easy S tier. Next up, we have Neko Mada, a character who's sporting many of the design elements I've already established I'm a big fan of. Thigh-high stockings, detached sleeves. All she's missing is an exposed midriff, and we'd have a triple threat to my Christian sworn purity. I personally don't like the whole loopies on her sleeves going on though. I don't even know what they're supposed to be. Pool noodles? Or shoelaces for a really small giant? On the other hand, I love her leg armor and the design of her top. It kinda reminds me of like a corset mixed with sportswear. And I love the little bell around Neko Mada's neck. Putting a bell on your kitty's collar instantly makes them twice as cute, I swear. I've said before how much I love cats, so I'm putting Neko Mada's feline drip in the S tier. Nicole is the broke-ass leader of the Cunning Hares, but by looking at her drip, you can't really tell. She may not be wearing a lot of clothes, but the clothes she does have, she chose very well. Especially her vest. It is by far the most stylish thing she owns. Beyond that, her outfit really comes together with accessories. Putting ribbons in her hair looks so damn cute, as does deciding to strap a plushie to her side. The most impressive thing about Nicole though, is that her belt game is unmatched. She doesn't just wear too many belts, she's created an entire belt assembly around her legs. And she leaves a single belt swinging away behind her to look like a cattail, I guess. I'm gonna put Nicole in the S tier. If I didn't, she would probably rob me. When compared to all the phenomenal outfits in the game, I don't know if Anby really deserves to be the face of Zenless Zone Zero. Don't get me wrong, she has a great fit, I just think a lot of other characters' fits are even better. For Anby, I love the look of her skirt. Battle skirts are always an aesthetic I think looks great, and Anby's is especially pretty. It has this wonderful folded texture, and is accented with 2 belts. Where Anby's sense of style begins to lose me is in her top. It's like some kind of Kevlar vest mixed with a hoodie? It looks interesting, I suppose, but I cannot find any words to defend her puffy detached sleeves. They look like mushy cucumbers. Luckily, Anby's accessory game is on point. She wears multiple pointless belts, fingerless gloves, and even some beats by Dr. Dre. Anby's on thin fucking ice, but I think she belongs in S tier. And I bet if she got a second chance, she could knock another outfit out of the park. Miyabi, and really all of Section 6, exemplify business casual to a T. They all have basically the same uniform, but each member of this elite squad styles it just a little bit differently. Miyabi specifically chooses to wear a long black skirt that feels very elegant and traditional, I guess. It kind of reminds me of like an old-timey school teacher. And I think her coat is styled off of some classic Japanese fashion, though I don't know nearly enough to say exactly what. The point is, I like it. And even though I criticized Caesar for having one arm in and one arm out of her jacket sleeves, that doesn't really bother me with Miyabi. I don't know, I just think it actually works with this garment. Is this an example of white man thinking Japanese thing is cooler than the exact same thing from somewhere else? Maybe. And if so, the propaganda is working, because I'm putting Miyabi in S tier. Miyabi might be the Section 6 chief on paper, but in practice, Yanagi is the real leader. She's like a highly skilled manager of a Fortune 500 company who's been put in charge of a bunch of neurodivergent diversity hires. And I think her design reflects that. Rather than going for simple elegance, Yanagi drips out her uniform to the nines with lots of little accessories. Rather than wearing a jacket like the rest of her team, she just has a decorative scarf thing worn over her shoulder. Her other accessories include stylish glasses, a professional Bluetooth headset, and beautiful ribbons and jewelry to stylize her hair. And somehow Yanagi is able to fight in high heels, which I suspect might be a little challenging. Her skirt is much shorter too, giving her a more modern businesswoman look. Basically, she dresses like a girl boss, and all girl bosses belong in S tier. And now, for a sharp contrast from elegance and sophistication, we have Section 6's resident gremlin, Sokaku. Her skirt combines the style of Miyabi's with the length of Yanagi's. I think her skirt is easily the cutest of all we've seen from Section 6. But if you want to talk about cute, Sokaku's choker and earrings are just adorable. I also find it interesting that her jacket seems to be so differently styled from all her co-workers. It kind of looks like a blue bomber jacket made from some kind of leather, as opposed to the cloth jackets worn by the other 3. And I just think that's interesting. It brings an air of seriousness, I guess, to this beautiful little goblin that she would otherwise be missing. I simply must put Sokaku in the S tier. I love them all, but I think Harumasa might just have my favorite design out of all the members of Section 6. Unfortunately, he's not wearing a skirt like his other co-workers, but his black slacks are crisp and clean, and almost make up for that immeasurable disappointment. As an archer, he naturally wears a chest guard and other bits of protective gear. He's even wearing a headband, which theoretically keeps hair out of his eyes so he can make better shots. The best detail, however, is his jacket. He's taken it off of his upper body, probably to allow for more movement with his bow, But rather than casting it aside entirely, Harumasa's tied it around his waist. This is a look that screams casual and laid back. And this choice has the added benefit of kind of making Harumasa look like he's wearing a skirt, which is something that's very important to me. For that alone, I'm putting Harumasa in the S tier. Zhu Yuan is another person whose entire fashion sense is inseparably tied to her career. She dresses in layers upon layers of combat-ready clothing, and somehow still has the strength to pile on dozens of pieces of special equipment. Seeing her decked out with a gun, an earpiece, and spare ammo fills me with a sense of comfort and safety. The exact opposite feeling I get when seeing a pig in real life. Zhu Yuan's tie grants her an air of bureaucratic professionalism, but that green checkerboard pattern is a travesty. Luckily, her tactical use of neon orange highlights throughout her hair creates a beautiful small pop of color without also looking garish. I'll never get another chance to say something good about police officers, so to make the most of the occasion, I'm putting Zhu Yuan in S tier. If Zhu Yuan's fashion sense screams professional police officer, Xingyi's fashion sense kinda screams professional stripper. With that said, she is a robot, and if she was fully covered head to toe like Zhu Yuan, that fact might go unappreciated. The clothing Xingyi does wear is covered in armored plates and tactical gear. She kinda looks like a martial artist, to be honest. Like an MMA fighter who's going to beat your ass. But I'm not really interested in her clothes, because I am straight up obsessed with her jade hair ornaments. They look so pretty. I can just imagine what they feel like. Smooth and glassy. I just want to rub them. Or maybe even lick them. I'm sure they taste like Jolly Ranchers, and you cannot convince me otherwise. S tier. Jane Doe is a special case among New Eridu's police force. She's an undercover agent, and as such, her fashion choices aren't restricted to just accessorizing a uniform. And in my opinion, she's making good use of her freedom. Her jacket somehow manages to look both blue-collar practical and high society fashionable at the same time. The best part of her jacket is obviously the cargo straps around the neck. The loops at the ends provide a place for Jane to rest her hands, so she can look even more like a little rat. I do have to raise my eyebrows at the state of her tights, though. The rest of her drip is so clean and maintained wonderfully. So why did she let her tights go to absolute shit? I don't know, maybe she got hungry one day and chewed through them? Whatever the reason, Jane clearly has good fashion sense, and is going straight into the S tier. Seth is absolutely decked out in police equipment and Pubsec branding. The armor, the detached sleeves, and especially the pants look great on him. And yet, somehow, he feels the least policeman out of the three uniformed officers. I had trouble understanding why at first, but then I realized it's because he's wearing a fucking sweater vest. This looks ridiculous on him. It's a nice shirt, don't get me wrong, but it is so wrong for the underlayer of your uniform. You can't seriously think all this high-tech tactical law enforcement gear goes well with a sweater vest. Imagine what criminals will think when they see you. You have no authority to make arrests when you're committing such an obvious fashion crime. I really think I need to put Seth in F tier for this. But he is part cat, so actually he goes in S tier. Grace's outfit asks the question, what if we took Wendy the Welder and made her look anime as shit? Well, you know what they say? If you got it, flaunt it. And Grace certainly got it. What's so impressive about her wardrobe is that despite showing so much skin, she's clearly still dressing appropriately for her job. It looks like she's strapped a welding blanket to her waist and stuffed it full of all manner of tools and gadgets. Forget cargo pants, Grace made herself a whole ass cargo cape. She really took a look at the non-existent pockets in women's clothing and said, "Fine, I'll do it myself." My favorite of her tools and accessories has gotta be her bright red welding goggles. The lenses are just so striking, and they even match her eyes. Grace is an all-around beautiful package, and easily belongs in the S tier. I've always been more of a twink guy, but this bear just might change that for me. It's true that most of Ben's outfit is just his work attire, but he pulls that off great. Just like Grace, he tacked on piles of tools over his jumpsuit to assist him with work. That's all well and good, but it doesn't leave a lot of room for his personal fashion taste to shine through. As far as I can tell, he's only wearing 2 pieces of personal clothing. But that's more than enough to cement Ben as a phenomenally fashionable bear. Both his black wife beater and gold chain are more than enough information for me to understand his pimped out style. It's like Paddington grew up and discovered Eminem. I couldn't bear to put Ben anywhere else besides the S tier. Anton's shirt is way too nice to be the attire of a construction worker. He should be behind a desk, making $100K a year, and evading taxes with a top like that. Of course, his belts, pants, and suspenders do give him a more blue-collar appearance. Interestingly though, Anton has a third aesthetic that is, in my opinion, the most pronounced. That aesthetic would be supervillain. You can't tell me the way he wears his jacket like a cape doesn't make him look like dumb white Megamind. The extreme length, the oversized collar, it's one of the best looking coats in the entire game. If I didn't know better, I'd say Anton was in charge of Bellebog. His fashion sense at the very least seems to be second to none. This hunky beefcake is clearly S tier material. Calyda's decision to only wear her jumpsuit halfway up was a very good one. The way it folds over herself over her waist gives it a skirt-like appearance, which you know I like. Her tank top is really cute, and honestly, it looks incredibly comfy, like it's made from the softest possible cotton around. Calyda also has a great eye for accessories. Her armbands, choker, and hair clips all have this industrial metal look that almost stop Calyda from looking like a child labor violation. If it wasn't for her adorable panda ear headband, I might almost be able to take her seriously. And of course, that eye patch looks great on her. I don't know why she has it, but I'm glad she does, because it's going to put Bellebog's leader right into the S tier. Soldier 11 is a soldier, obviously. It's in the name. So her outfit is probably some kind of standard issue attire, but I'm not entirely sure about that. As far as I know, we never see an Obel Squad NPC in the game, so I'm going to assume Soldier 11's outfit is custom made for reasons I'll get into later. Her outfit gives the appearance of a battle tunic, kind of like Caesar's. The material looks well suited for conflict, and I like that Soldier 11 is wearing pants. She's pretty well covered up all around, something that's very important for someone bringing a sword to a gunfight. She's even covering her eyes with some very fashionable yellow goggles. Actually, the color scheme across her entire outfit is rather interesting. Yellow and black are usually colors associated with electricity, but Soldier 11 is a fire character. She still has some splashes of red to remind you what her specialty is. The scrunchie in particular is an accessory I quite like a lot. Soldier 11 gets an 11 out of 10. Looking at Trigger's outfit is like staring into the Eldritch Void. I cannot comprehend what's going on here at all. This is why I think Obel Squad's uniforms are partially custom designed. Trigger's is so different from Soldier 11's. Their pants are the same, but Trigger's top is so weird. I think she's wearing a metal chest plate, which makes sense for a soldier, but the only protection she has around her tummy are some elastic bands? Now, I've never been in the military, but in my personal opinion, that seems like a bad choice. I guess she's just prioritizing fashion over function? Exposed midriff is peak after all. Trigger's most identifiable feature is probably her blindfold though. It looks like it provides good protection to her head while also being highly fashionable. Having built-in RGB proves to me that Trigger is a fellow gamer, and for that, she belongs in S tier. Even though looking at her outfit is rapidly driving me insane. Ambibity Anby has one of the most appealing outfits in the game. The battle tunic design is back, and it looks better than ever. The folded frills at the bottom make it look extra skirt-like, and the top half has this elegance to it that I really dig. The cloth on this gold pin looks just like a ruffled cravat, an accessory straight out of the fashionable 18th century. And the little tiara she wears is just the cherry on top of this elegant outfit. Anby's entire outfit here makes her look drop-dead gorgeous. It kinda makes me wonder what the fuck happened with Anby's default outfit, but that's not important. For this attempt, Soldier Zero Anby goes in the S tier. Everybody has a thing for vampires. And if you say you don't, you're simply lying. Hugo is among the best dressed characters in the entire game. He's wearing all the necessary pieces to be at the peak of Fashion Mountain. His jacket is beautifully detailed, and it even has an appealing lining, which I can promise you is not always a guarantee. Hugo's shirt, pants, and shoes are all thoughtfully chosen too. I wish Hugo was wearing a vest, but that might make his outfit too loud. Especially if he insists on keeping all of those medallions pinned to his chain and belt. They are quite garish, and I'm not actually a very big fan of them. What I am a big fan of, though, is Hugo's choice of color, purple. It's a beautiful dark shade which reminds me more of the night sky than a gaudy suit. I could go on. Trust me, I could. But I'll leave Hugo with a well-deserved S and just move on. Vivian is potentially wearing my favorite outfit in all of Zenless. She fully commits to the Lolita aesthetic, an elegant aesthetic that's lived rent-free in my head ever since I was baptized as a weeb. Especially when Vivian's holding her umbrella, I can't help but think that this is exactly what Violet Evergarden would look like if she got really into the Twilight fandom. Her shirt is pleasantly frilly, and Vivian's even incorporated cutesy ribbons all over her outfit, which I think looks really good. The white and black color scheme with a touch of purple is also a pretty good choice. The only thing I would change is going for a bit more purple and a bit less white. But apart from that, Vivian's outfit obviously belongs in the S tier. As a famous movie star, Astra Yao obviously has an immaculate wardrobe. Her dress kind of looks like a corset to me. I might be totally off base with that observation, but those are the vibes it gives me. I have no idea what kind of article of clothing is covering her arms, but I really like whatever it is. They're like detached sleeves on crack. The flowy bits of cloth hanging from her shoulders provide some nice dynamic movements to her look. And obviously the color is super important. Without these red sleeves, Astra would be covered head to toe almost entirely in white, which would be way too boring for a person as boisterous as Astra. Beyond the clothes, she's wearing some of the most beautiful and detailed jewelry I've ever seen. It's obvious that Astra is a high-class gal with high-class taste, so she naturally deserves to be put in a high-class ranking. To me, it kinda looks like Evelyn is dressing as some sort of billionaire supervillain. The look is great, but I feel like she's going to feed me to her pet sharks if I speak out of line. The biggest reason for that is her intimidating jacket. Not only is it black and red, the two scariest colors, but Evelyn's wearing it like a cape, which really ups the girl boss factor. And wearing the world's highest leather pants is also a factor which gives her an air of being in charge. Finally, her top makes her look extremely professional. The white-colored shirt and long tie cement her as someone who looks like they live in an office meeting room. As the #1 girl boss in New Eridu, Evelyn gets an S ranking. Of the Yunkui Summit mystics, Yinhu might have my least favorite outfit. It's on the simpler side, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. All of the mystics here share some combination of a black, yellow, and white color scheme. Yinhu's gi has a lot of little details. The patterning on the yellow section of his gi is very pleasant if you take the time to look at it. The red string which snakes across his chest and stomach also adds a wonderful splash of color. But let's be honest with ourselves. The #1 best part of this outfit is the hat. Why? Because it's not just a hat, it's also a motherfucking walk. Truly, this is the next step in the evolution of fashion. The ultimate combination of both fashion and function. As a foodie myself, this is the best hat in the entire game. S tier for sure. No matter how hard Fufu tries, I cannot see her as anything other than an adorable little kitty. And she is trying rather hard. Her outfit is very professional. You almost can't even tell she's a Yunkui mystic. Fufu's gone with a neutral colored and collared button-up shirt. An article of clothing I'd expect from an office drone, not a martial artist. Her short-cut jacket has some of those more mystical vibes I'd expect to see, but I don't know if that's just because it's the colors of Yunkui Summit, or if it actually looks mystical. Her shoulder-length fingerless gloves are also a great addition to this fit. Without them, I think Fufu would look a lot less interesting. Covering up her arms was definitely the right choice. I rather like Fufu's strange little outfit. Enough to put her in, let's say the S tier. I don't know where to even begin with Yishuan's drip. It's almost indescribable. It reminds me a lot of Trigger's outfit, to be honest. But it does still feel like it belongs with the rest of the mystics. Yes, part of that is just the color scheme, but there's also details connecting Yishuan's clothes to the clothing of her juniors. Thin red rope is placed in various spots around the outfit, a small detail shared with all the other mystics. Same goes for dangling objects. In Yishuan's case, it's tassels and ribbons. There's no bells hanging off of her, which I think is a missed opportunity for connection, but the tassels are good enough. I also really like the asymmetry she's created by covering her left arm and right leg. It's just a little pop of pizzazz to make a more appealing fit. I think I'm gonna break expectations and put Yishuan's outfit in the S tier. And with that, every character has been ranked by their drip. I think we have ourselves a really nice and diverse list here. I absolutely could have gone in way more depth with most of these characters, but for the sake of time, I tried to keep each entry to only about 1 minute. If you want me to go in more depth, leave a comment and maybe I'll make a follow-up on some of my favorite outfits. And of course, if you liked this video, please remember to like and subscribe. You can also watch one of my older videos if you want more of this. Thank you so much for simply watching to the end of this one, though. Please remember to stay positive and have a wonderful day, everyone.